Okay. So we've got a good welcome there to Neil from the Isle of Man. Welcome to this call. Good evening to you, Alan, from Oxfordshire. Good evening to you, Morris, both from Oxfordshire as well. Good evening, Warren from Minehead. Good evening to you, Mark from Nottingham. And hi, Kevin from the Wirral. Right, okay, so here we go. This is our very first Men on a Mission Zoom call. Okay. We asked for the what you wanted to talk about, and you wanted to talk about messages first, which is going to be amazing. If you could all just mute yourselves, because at the moment I've got you able to unmute yourselves. If you just make sure, because obviously later on this will be interactive, so you'll be able just to talk, okay? But if you could just mute yourselves at the very beginning, so that I can get the information across to you. Right, so the reason that we started Men in the Mission was obviously because of convention. And Mr. Bradley wanted more men into the industry. We are 25% of the industry at the moment. And to be fair, the travel industry is actually gender neutral. It's not beauty products, it's not fashion, so anybody can do it. So why don't we just increase our visibility? All right. That's what he wanted. So obviously, when I was in the villa with all, Louise, Karen, Dawn, we all discussed that this is what we wanted to do. So now we've brought it to life. This only works, obviously, if we all get together and we all find out what we need, and then we can sort it out. All right. I've been in this business now 3.5, nearly 4 years. A lot of my training comes from Fraser Brooks and obviously Louise, because Louise is trained by Fraser Brooks as well. So you'll see some very similarities in stuff that we'll do. But I won't be doing the training every week. Okay, I've got some guest speakers to come on every now and again, and then hopefully we'll have what's called once a month a locker room, in the way that the locker room is done at convention. So it's hard hitting, straight to the point. There's no flowers on that one. All right. So what we'll do is I'll just go through the presentation to start with, and then at the end we've got we'll have time for questions and answers, and then at the end of that I was hoping for a little discussion to see where you want to go forwards for the next one. So without further ado. Can everybody see that screen? Good. Right, okay, so obviously as men, we find it very difficult sometimes to message people, and we always seem to say it's the women, but I don't think so. I think it's both men and women sometimes. We get stuck thinking that we're doing something wrong or something's not happening right. Some of that's because we don't get the answers. People just keep ghosting us. And this is an opening question. So what happened was when I got somebody in, so like a suggested friend, say, or I've gone through somebody else's friends' contacts and just added them as a friend. Obviously, there's nothing there. You need to start a conversation. So I started off with this. So, it's like, hi, this could be anybody. So we'll say, hi, Alice, thanks for connecting on Facebook. I see you have friends in common. So I just thought I'd reach out to you. How are you? All right. That's pretty straightforward. It says, thank you for connecting, because obviously they've accepted my friend request. but it doesn't quite just have that, it's just a blank message really. So we had to up it a wee bit. So the improvements, okay? Some emojis in there to make it a little bit more light. Hey Alice, great to connect. I've been adding more positive travel-loving people to my network lately. Your profile popped up. Do you love travel or do you just like good vibes? Just like me, all right? So you're just starting it off gently. You're saying about travel. If they don't like travel, they might want to speak to you anyway. So you've now got two openings. Whereas before, it was just, how are you? And they're just going, well, I'm not speaking to that person, all right? So now you've introduced a bit of travel without actually saying that you're selling a travel business. And you're now asking them, if they don't like travel, if they just like a good banter, all right? So that then leads you straight into asking the question. Now, I found that a lot of times, if we were having a conversation, the conversation would just drag on and drag on and drag on, and we weren't getting anywhere. I know Fraser always says it's the ping pong effect. You want to just have 3 conversations and then start pivoting. Okay. I was finding I wasn't getting anything because of being a bloke. Okay. So how I stopped that and stopped misinterpretations was trying to get into ask the question quite quickly. Because don't forget, we don't have much rapport with these people. This isn't my warm market. These people don't know me from Adam. So I need to get in there and show them that I'm not a sleazeball. I'm not trying to rip them off. You know what I mean? So we need to get in there quite quickly. So they've obviously turned around and says, yes, I love travel. So you can then say, well, that's awesome. I'm asking a few of my travel loving friends this lately, if you could make an income around your adventures, would that be something you'd be open to learning about? Okay. Now you can also put an end of that, no worries if not. So then you're keeping it open. You're not forcing them. You're just saying, are you interested? So again, you're not giving them too much information. You're not overloading them with blah, 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 blah. I can make your future, amazing. What you're doing is just keeping it, again, subtle. And it's not a big, massive message either. People don't like reading long messages, okay? And you can start putting this into voice notes. We'll come on to that in a little bit of time, but you want to start putting voice notes in, okay? Because that shows your excitement, that shows you're real. Okay, what we need to identify quite quickly is that we're real people. We're not trying to scam them. We're actually trying to help them. All right. So trying to get into a voice note quite quickly is very good. The only problem I've got with voice notes is tracking them. All right, because obviously you've just sent a voice note. All the messages I can put up and see my messages and see how far I've got. But once you start putting in voice messages, then it's harder to track. So on my sheet, on my spreadsheet, I've got follow-up 1, follow-up 2, and then what my follow-up 2 is. My follow-up 2 is, or ask the question, or whatever. So I've done ask the question or put in voice. So I've done it by voice note, or I'll put in by message, okay? So once we start getting objections, because we do all the time, there's what's called find, feel, and felt, all right? Now, these are the sort of words that you need to start putting into these answers, okay? So you're showing empathy and that you're understanding from their perspective. It's all about them, okay? It's nothing to do with you. You can say, I've been in this business and I'm a multi-millionaire. They don't care. They need to know how they can be a millionaire. So you need to make it all about them. Right? Every conversation has to be about them. And then you just edify as you're going through. So I'll tell you where you're coming from. I've spoken to a lot of people who felt the same way, and then you just lead on from that. Okay, so you've got the felt bit that I felt the same, who felt the same way. And then you can start telling, you don't even have to say your own story, you can say somebody else's story. So say this was time. Yeah, I know a gentleman that works 11 hours a day, he still manages to do this. He's got children, he's got grandchildren, and he still manages this in small pockets of time. Or what else have we got? I think it's a scam. I felt the same way. My wife joined 6 months earlier than me. It took me that 6 months to understand what was going on and that she wasn't actually getting scammed. You know what I mean? So it's all that you're putting in there, and it's just that one word, felt. Okay, I'm putting it onto them. So you want to relate to people, so you share that, or somebody that you know. So again, you don't have to say yourself. You can leverage all these other people's stories. You've heard them all on Meet the Agents. You've heard them on stage. You know, you can say, you know, you can go to you know, say Rachel's story. You know, that's how she's made a millionaire. But then you want to make it a bit more realistic and say, right, so I know a nurse, or I know a director called Karen, and she has she's a single parent. She's got 2 children. Unfortunately, one of them's been diagnosed with ADHD, so she manages to work this around looking after that. Yeah. So you're just bringing that in all the time. So you don't have to say it's me all the time. So in fact, I actually felt the same way myself when I first looked at this. So that's going to be normally, I would say, as soon as they say it's a scam type of thing, or I'm not too sure, it sounds too good to be true. In fact, I actually felt the same way myself. And then you lead into that conversation. Okay, and basically it's not just for her, it's for him and her. All these are, you know, and just start building that conversation and stories. It's all about stories. Make sure that you're listening to people's stories. Take Queen notes. I've got cue cards, all right, with little people's stories in there. So then I can just say who they are. Don't give full names, because they'll start following them on Facebook or whatever, and you could lose them. But just a first name will do, just to make it relatable. I've made up names as well, just to be sure. But yeah, you're telling the story. Okay, so you share what you've discovered. That's the things that have changed you, your breakthrough moment. Okay, so every time we start something, we don't have that breakthrough moment. But when we book our first holiday, or when we get our first business partner, or we go to our first event or something like that. So, but once I found, but what I found was, once I got started, it didn't just fit around my schedule. It actually gave me way more freedom than I expected. Okay, a lot of people have done this job or this business and cut down their regular business hours because of the income they're getting from here. So that's given them more freedom. All right. They've also getting more confident, less anxious, so actually able to concentrate on things better, giving them more freedom instead of worrying about everything. So you can put in community, you can put in all sorts of things. And again, it's all about storytelling. You've got to tell these stories and put it into your own words. And again, that becomes more relatable. They feel a bit more safe with you. And it's going to take a few follow-ups. They're not going to come straight away from this, but you just keep in touch. You just keep in touch. I actually had a guy turn around to me and says, "Oh, you just followed up enough times. You know what I mean? You haven't been too pushy. It's not been every day. It's not been every week. You know, it's just been about right." The bugger still didn't sign, but he said I was good. So here we go. So we've got a real message here. So you always get this all the time. I'm too busy. I've got 2 or 3 jobs. I've got no time for this, all right? So I'm too busy for something like this right now. So you can turn around and say, I totally understand. I found that most of the people who join me say the same at first. I actually felt that way too. But what I found was, once I started, I was able to fit it around my schedule. It ended up giving me more time freedom later. Want me to show you how it could work for you? Okay, always leave it with a question so that you have to get back to you. All right. So if we break this down, I totally understand. Okay, so then you're starting to get that connection. I understand how you feel. I found that most people who join me say this at first. Okay, so making them feel like they're not the only one person that's done this or said this. Okay, so everybody's, that's been joining has been saying the same things. You felt the same way when you first started. Great. So you're just keeping that empathy going. And then once I started, I was able to fit it in and around. So that's when you can start explaining that we can actually break this business down into 10-minute blocks, do it throughout the day. You can do it in between looking after children. If you're looking after children, you can do it in between your shifts, when you're traveling to work, when you're coming back from work, if you're commuting, or you can do it, when you're in the toilet, or you know what I mean? You've got to show them ways that they can do it. And hopefully by this time, you've got a bit of a feeling for them, so you know a little bit about them, what they're doing. If not, you've at least looked on their profile picture, on their Facebook profile and said, "All right, so they're busy, mum of, or he is a director in a company," you know what I mean? So you know a little bit that you can actually just start feeding that into the conversation. Okay, here we go. Top tips for males. All right. When sending messages, lead with energy and confidence. Okay, that is a must. All right. Do not do hype. Don't go OTT. All right. You actually just want to be normal, but you want to be exciting. You want to be elevated. All right. So if you can't get elevated by yourself, put some music on and let's get yourself a little bit elevated and then start this conversation. Obviously in voice notes. All right. Like I said, voice notes, everybody's like, "Oh my God, a voice note." But they really do work really well. And the women will respond to connection and belief, not bravado. So they're not going to go to you and say, because you're saying that you're the best person in the world, they're not going to come to you because of that. What they're going to come to is that how much you can help them. All right. Not how much, you're not going to make them millionaires. Yeah. But how much you can help them in saving on the travel, in earning a little bit more income. You've got to express the fact that everybody's bills are going higher and higher and higher now. Let's not promise them the world because they've still got to work for it. But let's just say that this can change it and that people who've joined the business that wouldn't even step out of the house are now jumping on trains and going down to London for our live events. So it's not just about money, it's about improving life as well, and having that group of people behind you to help you. All right. So make sure that you're just feeding into them all the benefits, but don't take, don't spend hours. Just keep it in nice short blocks for them. Okay. So hey, I've got something that could really help. Okay, I got something that could really help you. Not, bro, this is the next big thing, innit? All right. You can't be saying stuff like that. All right. Let's keep it real. Okay. And we'll see from there. Right. So we have an objection. I could have given you shed loads of objections, but we've not got all night. So I've just tried to pick 2 or 3 objections, and then you can see how you can handle them. All right. Because obviously you've got to put everything into your own words. This is you. But obviously you'll get the nuance of it and then you can express it in your own way. So when they start to say, "I'm too busy," or "I don't have time right now," what you can say is, "Hey, Alice, I totally get that. Most of the people I've spoken to say the same thing at first. I actually felt the same way too when I first started. What I found though was once I got going, I could work this into small pockets of time, and now it's given me more freedom, not less. Would you be open if I showed you how it fit around my schedule?" Doesn't sound too taxing and too hard, does it? All right. Some of the wording, I've got to admit, sometimes when we see like connecting and relatability and all this sort of carry on, isn't words that I used to use before. I started in network marketing, but it seems to be more acceptable and people are listening to that sort of thing. But, you know, if you don't speak like that, try and, you know, just change it slightly to how you talk, all right? A lot of stuff is we can take off ChatGPT now, obviously, and you can program ChatGPT to be more like you, but at the end of the day, you talk like you. So don't talking like ChatGPT, just take their messages, go away. What I do is I read the messages a few times, go away, come back, and then start voice noting without the message being there, so I'm not reading it. All right? Because if you start reading it, they can tell that you're reading off a script, okay? And then, of course, why this works, it works to show that you've got empathy, you share a relatable story, so that, I'm busy, but I can do half an hour in the morning, I can do half an hour at lunchtime, and then I can do half an hour in the evening. That's an hour and a half on my business. And as you can see, it works fine. Yeah. A reconnection follow-up. All right. So we've been bombarding them with messages. Now we need to start following up. All right. This is what I'm saying to you. It's your follow-ups that gets people. I've very rarely got somebody the very first time. Okay. The only time you get somebody the very first time is because they're ready before you've even started. All right. That's very rare. What you need to do is keep following up and following up and following up and following up. And I've got people that I spoke to 4 years ago joining. All right. So you've got to make sure that you keep them. I've got a spreadsheet, but you can have a book. You know what I mean? You can just have a notebook like that and you follow up. And then, of course, so it's like what we did was 137. So you always follow up the day after, then 3 days, then 7, then a month, then 3 months, then 7 months, and so on and so on and so on. So it's always 137, 137, 137. Okay. And that way you're keeping up with them. I would always go into their social media. So the people that I'm really working on at the moment, I'm in their social media nearly every day. Just speaking to them, even if it's just a good morning, give them a bit of a boost. They're not going to join you straight away, but they recognize you, they know who you are. So when you come to messaging and following up, you can just, obviously, because you're relating to them on social media, in your follow-ups, you can say, oh, I saw how you you got a new dog the other day. How's that going? Of course, they're going to love talking about the dog and not talking about work. And then you can always bring it back to work if needs be, or you can just leave that one and then come back later on and talk about work after that. All right. So use this when somebody stopped replying. So this is obviously our biggest one is ghosting. I hate ghosting, but you get used to it. So it's, hey, totally get it. Life gets busy. A lot of people I've spoken to felt the same way the first time too. What I found though is those who just took a minute to really see what's possible here, we're glad they did. No pressure at all, but would you be open if I showed you what it's actually been working for me lately? Okay, so why this works is it's friendly, empathetic, it's curiosity driven, and it reopens convo without guilt tripping them. So you're not saying, oh, you've been ghosting me, I've seen your messages, why are you ghosting me, blah, blah, blah. It's just carrying on a conversation without the pressure. All right. Once you get to a certain few follow-ups and they're not engaging with you, then that's when you can send the GIF. Okay. The GIF is obviously somebody sitting on the couch crying because they're not getting back to you. And then hopefully they'll come back to you on that one. If they don't, then they're not worth it. You've got to remember that a lot of people that we're talking to probably aren't the people that we need in our business. So even though we want to talk to everybody, the people that aren't coming with us are either just not ready yet or aren't even going to be good enough in the business anyway. All right, there's no point bringing people in if they're just going to leave within 2 or 3 weeks. We need to get that. We need to get those right people to get those people to stay. But the only way we get to do that is by talking to them anyway. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to have all these conversations. I don't know if anybody was on the IMV this morning, but Amy Beckett said that she had 17,000 conversations before she had a team of 100. But that 100 was all the people that she brought in. So she's got 100 people in her front line. All right. She's not, and obviously they've built up the thousands. So now she's over 2,500 people. But she brought in a front line of 100, whereas other directors probably, about 50, between the 50 and 60 mark. Because as soon as you start getting good builders, then you don't need as many people, obviously, to build your legs. But that's a lot of conversations. Okay, so thank you very much. Have you got any questions? If you've got any questions, just unmute and ask away.
Hi, Julian. It's Glenn. You okay?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah. Just a quick one. If you just go back a slide just for a second, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course. This one?
So yeah, obviously, you use the reconnection because I've got a few that I'm thinking of reconnecting with. So you're here, but obviously no pressure at all. But would you be open if I showed you what's actually working? So if the person that says, yeah, show me, what do we sort of talk about there or show them?
So it depends if you've already shown them the video. If you've not shown them the video, then show them the video. All right, and then get them into a three-way. All right, as soon as possible. All right, so you show them video and then you say, right, I'll speak to you. So everybody, this is the Fraser Brooks coming out now, right? I say, so you show them video, you don't even show them video until you've had this conversation with them. I'll show you the video and I'll get back in touch with you within 20 minutes. Are you ready to watch the video now? And they'll say yes or no, or actually, no, I can't watch it until 6 o'clock tonight. Okay, then. So I'll send it to you at 6 o'clock tonight, and then at 6:20, I'll get in contact with you again and see how you found the video. All right. That way, you have to watch the video. Yeah, you're not wasting your time. You're getting into that message quite quickly, and then you can say, right, I'd love to introduce you to a friend of mine, and then that's your three-way. Okay, they're going to help you start, answer your questions and help you get into the thing. It's not taking anything away from you, because what is happening is they're showing that you've got a community of people that you can call upon to help you, and obviously that'll help them as well. All right. If you've already shown them the video, then it's a prospect call. Okay, I know we've only gone down to Sundays anymore, but you can always show the recording. And if not, then you need to get onto a Zoom and speak to them face to face. Okay, I'll go video, presentation, video, prospect call, then a Zoom call. If you can get somebody else on your Zoom call with you, that's great. But if not, you have to do it yourself. And then basically what I do on my Zoom calls is I do a presentation, a quick version of what the one that I do on a Tuesday night. Or you've done, you've been involved in them with Karen Love. Okay, so you would do that. All right, but you can make it a lot shorter and just speak to them. I went through a couple of months ago. One woman says, "Well, that's very good, very polished. I love that, but it seems like it's too polished." You know what I mean? So then I was like, "Oh," but she was just not wanting to join, basically. So yeah, that's how I would do it.
Okay, yeah, so you're showing the video if you're not. Okay, I get it. No, it's just the wording that I was a bit confused, but it says basically if I showed you what's been working for me, so I didn't know how.
Yeah, you don't want to be going in and saying these are the messages I've been sending people.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's what I thought. Exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah.
But you want to show them. And then you can also, you could also just show them, like business partners joining. You know what I mean? So you've got like, we've had 3 business partners join this week. We've got a millionaire that's just managed to get a sapphire ring or ruby ring, or you know what I mean. You can start showing a bit of evidence as well, but basically I would just get them straight into these tools, straight into the 3 ways, and then hopefully getting them joined up. That is the way that you kind of try and push it if they haven't seen it already. If this is like an old prospect, they'll want to see, might need to see the video again because it's been over a year. that they've seen the video or whatever. So then you're just showing them the video again and saying, right, so this business is working for me. Yeah. And I put it in that way. This is giving me more time freedom. This is allowing me to go on more holidays. This has built my confidence up now that I can present on Zoom or I can present on stage or whatever. You know what I mean? So you're just showing them what we've got, basically.
Yeah, I suppose, like I say, it's credibility, isn't it? I suppose. So, you know, it's because obviously they welcome new prospects, don't they? So, you know, we for everyone else in the room as well, we show that. I show that on Facebook. I share that from time to time, showing that, you know, it's not just me saying these things; it's the actual people joining our team or the team. So it's credible that way. So okay, no, I get it. Okay, well, thanks so much.
No, that's good. That's what we're here for. Anybody else?
Hi, Julian.
Hiya.
I'm just worried about when we're going through Facebook messaging people, getting banned and not sounding creepy and
Right, okay. Yep,
from the
that's very
messages
good.
that
That's huge.
I'm trying to go through the groups that I'm interested in
Yeah.
and contact people via that, but I'm still a bit wary of coming across a bit creepy.
Yeah, of course. We're all the same. It's always been the same, especially when you get told, right, so you're in this group, and I don't know, say it was a gardening group, and you know, there's somebody's growing these excellent tomatoes, and you go, all right, so well done on your tomatoes. How would you like me to connect with you? It's like, you're not going to do that, are you? You know what I mean? So what you've got to do is you've always got to think about how you're going to talk to somebody when you're in a pub. All right. When you go into a pub, you do not go into somebody and then start, oh, I like to, you know, connect with you and reach out to you and this, that, and the other. Just start being natural. All right. So I saw you in this group and you resonated with me, or I won't say resonated, but you know what I mean? You know, I found that we've got a lot in common. So I just thought I'd message you. And then take that conversation, whatever started that in the first place. Okay. So if it's something that you've got in common, so like with me, it'd be rugby, right? So I said, oh yeah, did you see that play on Saturday? I thought it was absolutely mince. What do you think? And then, and then you just start that conversation. People getting banned in groups is, yeah, it's very tricky now because what's happening is it's words. All right. So Facebook is jumping on certain words that are going into Facebook, I believe. So, but I don't know what those words are. I can't tell you what those words are, unfortunately. All right. A lot of it's like sell or something like that. But what's happening is I believe people are getting in these groups, people complaining to Facebook saying that these people are harassing people in their group. So yeah, be very careful. So one rule is never copy and paste. Okay. Never copy and paste your messages. Always type them. Use voice messages as much as possible because again, Facebook can't monitor your voice messaging. And try and build up, that rapport in the group so people don't think that you're in that group just because you want to give them a holiday. All right, you want them to join your team. We're all about joining the team on this group, aren't we? All right, even though we do holidays as well, want people to join our team, but what we don't want to be doing is getting banned on Facebook. So first of all, if you've got Facebook and Instagram joined, sever that link straight away. Okay, because if they're linked, and you get banned on Facebook, you get banned on Instagram as well. All right, too many friend requests is another one. Okay, so that's why we always say fam5, no more. All right, even though it's like on Instagram, you can do about 10 or 12 people because it all comes up suggested friends, but don't do 12 people a day because again, it just brings people to light. And on Facebook and Instagram, it's all the same. It's all meta, and they're all looking for these sort of things. And if you're creating these sort of things, then they're going to be looking at your account. Don't be scared to talk though. Okay? Because don't forget, before we were in this business, we were still able to talk. We just didn't do as much. Yeah? And spread it out through the day. Okay, if you unfortunately, like if I do an hour in the evening, I do what's called the fives. I do everything in fives. So I'll ask the question 5 people, I'll fan 5 people, I reverse market 5 people, I do whatever, 5, all typed. And then if everybody answers me, I can answer them back. All right. But then also I'll do that in the morning as well. Yeah. So I've got 5 in the morning and 5 in the evening of everything. Okay. So that gives me then 10, but then that's 5 times 5 things that I'm doing. So that's 25. So that's 50 things, 50 conversations, potential conversations that I've got. Follow-ups I can do more of because they used to me doing a minimum of 20 follow-ups. So I can do 20 follow-ups in the morning, 20 follow-ups in the evening. But if I have to, I'll just go down to 5. It's all about being consistent, but not doing too much all at once because you're just being a target. Does that make sense? And has that answered your question? That's more important. Okay, then Cruise King,
Yeah, it
you
does,
put your hand
thank
up.
you.
Unmute yourself, my man. I'll try and unmute you. No, I can only ask.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, there
can
you
you hear
go.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. I was just going to do a follow up on what you've just said because I think I was one of the first people in the group to have their account disabled. Whatever you do, just don't try and join more than 5 groups a day because Facebook are picking up on that as well. And also, don't, like you say, just keep it to 5 people a day. If you go over 5 people who you try to get friends with, then Facebook are really looking at that. At the moment, I can only do 4 a day because they're monitoring me at the moment anyway.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about doing little and often. If you try and do it all
Yeah,
at
because
once, it just puts a target on your back. Yeah.
I think I'm on my second account in a month now because they did block this account I'm on now, and I blocked it for 2 hours while they looked into it.
Yeah.
And they were trying to link, especially if you open another account, try it with if they do block you and disable you, try with a different email address because as soon as they link the email address, that's it. They will block you for good.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful because a lot of us are being caught out at the moment, especially in our group.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So what to do is make sure it's a different email and a different name.
Yeah, and
So if
post
you
little and often.
yeah, if you said if your first one's Mark Walker, then you would put say I'd put down Walker.
Yeah, or
You know what I
put
mean?
your
Something
put your
completely
middle
different.
name.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, and obviously we always talk about not being spread out throughout all the platforms, but you need to have a backup platform. Okay, so you do
oh, you
most of
need to have
your work
WhatsApp as well.
yeah, so do most of your work on Facebook because that's the key one. Fraser Brooks always says that Facebook is going to build your business. Always. It's the one that's going to do it. So keep at it, but don't overstretch yourself on it. Be careful, like me and Alan are saying, you can get blocked if you do too much at once. So learn another one whilst you're waiting. You know what I mean? So do a bit of Instagram or do TikTok's a bit different because of the age range of people that look at TikTok, but it's never stopped me. But then again, I've never gone viral, so but we still learn. But it does get a message across. I get 250 views on each one. So that's 250 people that's seen it. So, they're not all my friends. So, it's out there, but just in case, because what happens is a lot of people have lost their Facebook and then they've gone, oh my God, my business. What do I do
The
now?
problem is Facebook will help your business, but it could also destroy your business at the same time. So you just have to be very careful,
Yeah, yeah, and
especially recently.
and it hurts because people are lost.
Yeah.
You know, people can't get into the Facebook groups anymore, losing a lot of information, even though we're putting
And
things
it's
on
not just
WhatsApp.
that you're losing all your, photographs and things like that. It is really hard.
Yeah, so just don't, just be very careful out there. It is
And like you say,
testing.
just have a backup plan.
Yeah, yeah. I can always see it because when I'm messaging, it starts to flicker. Anytime it starts to flicker, I stop. So
Yeah, because that's when they're monitoring.
I've never been disabled, but I've been under review a couple of times. And of course, one time I had to prove who I was, so they took my photograph and this, that, and the other, and I had to explain what I did and why I was on Facebook and all this sort of carry on. And luckily I got my account back the next day, but it was very nerve-wracking. But
Is
then
that the photograph where you have to turn your head left and right and up and down?
yeah.
I had to do that.
You're not a network marketer if it's not happened to you. All right.
No.
Okay, you've got to be close to the wire, but not go over it and then get banned. All
Yeah.
right. But yeah, groups definitely. Yeah, if you just go straight into groups and then start messaging people, okay, join your group. The next day, just interacting with something. Just say, oh, I like your post, okay, and then build up to it. Don't go straight in there and start friending people because they don't like that either. So join a group, then leave it. Do not say anything in that group that day. 24 hours later, start interacting with people. Do that for a few days, but then you can start. I say this awfully, but it's targeting people, finding the people that have got nice holiday backgrounds or are business owners already. My biggest one was business owners, but they were in aesthetics. So female business owners in aesthetics, they love doing something extra. They love going in and doing holidays and stuff like that because it sells both things. They've got the aesthetics, but they've also got holidays, which they talk about when they're doing aesthetics. So it's all natural for them. And they're business owners, so they know how business works. And you tell them that a business startup is only 156 quid, and they've spent thousands training and opening a shop, they're going to go, oh my neck, only 156 quid? Yeah, I'm in. All right, so you can always go down the business route and talk about the compensation plan. Don't be scared to talk about it. Just don't go too much in depth in it because nobody understands what you're on about. All right, even when I'm doing it on the slides, people don't understand what I'm talking about. So just keep it very simple. When you share this business, you get money. When they share the business, they get money and you get money. Yeah, we can get to millionaires. There's no cap on your income, blah, blah, blah. So just keep it really short, but get them interested. Business people, get them interested in how they can make money. And that goes for both sexes. That is down the board. They both want to know how to earn money. So just get down there, and this is how we do it. We share this business as reps. But yes, you need to know your product. So that's why you need to be a travel agent as well. Once you qualify as a travel agent, you can share this business. And of course, then you can answer the questions on travel if they only want to be travel agents. Yeah. Good, good, good. Right. Anything else on this topic? No. Right. Okay. Right. So what you've got to do now, well, not today because it's getting late, but definitely tomorrow is I want you to start sending out 5 messages. Okay. Nice and easy. The ones that we've just done here. Okay. So you can do initial messages. So somebody that you've just friend requested yesterday, maybe. Okay. Do a couple of those. Do ask the question. So somebody that you've been talking to, you need to start pivoting the conversation. and then do some follow-ups. Okay, they're the three things that are going to get you growing in your business. So let's start getting comfortable with them. Ask ChatGPT to start with how you would do this message, but then please make sure that you change that to you. Okay, even though ChatGPT, if you use it a lot, will know, will know you quite well, they still don't know how you talk. All right, and then also try and practice a voice note if you don't use voice notes already. Now you'll see the women permanently with their phones like this, walking about doing voice notes. Yeah, all right. We need to do the same. Okay, people need to know that we're real and we've got a genuine excitement for this business. I hated them as well, but what I used to do was I used to record mine, listen to it back. Well, that was awful. Record it, listen back, record it, listen back. Then I would send it to, I'm quite lucky because Karen would listen to my voice notes. So I'd send them to Karen. She would listen to them and say, oh no, Julian, that was a bit flat. Or, oh no, why did you say that for? Yeah. And just build that confidence. Okay. And then do them. Okay. You'll find you'll get a much better response. Because we're all in fear that, that everybody's going to think we're creepy. Everybody thinks that we're this, that, and the other. So let's get over that bridge and let's do a couple of voice notes. You can always go back to a message after the voice note. I don't keep mixing up. I wouldn't just keep doing voice note, voice note, voice note. No, just mix and match. Just put one in there. And like I say, just make sure that whoever whoever your upline is, they will help you with your voice notes, definitely. And of course, guess what? They're all women. So guess what? You're going to get a female perspective on your voice notes. Yeah. And if that's really bad, then obviously have an accountability partner and do the voice note with your accountability partner. So just do a voice note. Okay. Right. So the rest of the week. Okay. So that's for tomorrow. Yeah. I want you to do 5 messages, 1, 2 of each one, 3 or whatever you've got to do tomorrow. Okay. And then in the group, just tell me how you got on. All right. If you found it easy, if you found it hard, whatever. We need that feedback because we can't grow if all I'm doing is teaching you once a week. That's what the group's for. We just need to get a bit of feedback. Oh, I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with that, and then we can tweak it. Because the meat and bones will always be there. It'll just need a little tweak. All right. So don't worry about sharing if things are, not working or you're frustrated. And people will ghost you. They ghost everybody. All right. So don't worry about that either. The next Zoom call, obviously, we need to have a theme for next week. So if you can think about it and then just put some ideas into the chat, that'd be great. But also, I've got a guest speaker for next week. Okay. Another male in the business. Okay. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. Yeah. I'll give you his view on being a male in the business as well. So you can have, and he's not in our teams, so you won't have heard him before. Okay. Yeah, no, it's been great. Oh, you're on a cruise. Yeah, but you're always on a cruise, Alan. I'm surprised you're not on one now. Are you able to, have you not got internet on these cruise ships? You don't get the internet package? Oh, for goodness sake. Get the internet package, mate. For one day. Transatlantic? Oh, dear. I'm sure they've got sat nav. I'm sure they've got sat things, haven't they? They need it to navigate, surely. But anyhow, it will be recorded. Okay, so you'll be able to pick it up when you come back to port. All right. So, oh, you're Florida. Lucky you, eh? But they do have internet over in Florida. Just, what was you, 5 hours behind? So it'll be, what, 4 o'clock? Yeah, watch the recording. But please engage in the chat, okay? You can always engage in the chat, even though you're watching the recordings, and then you can always come back after you watch the recording and say, right, yeah, I've got a question. and then we'll answer your question. Is that all right? And yeah, no, thank you very much for giving up your evenings this evening for it. I hope it has been good value for you. And like I say, whatever you want, please put it into the chat so that we can formulate something for next week. Like I say, the guest speaker is only going to be on for 10-15 minutes. We've still got to cover the rest of the hour with something else. Okay. But I hope, yeah, we'll stick at it because